Situated in north-central Nigeria, Benue State, with the appellation food basket of the nation, is an agrarian state with most of the inhabitants largely farmers who produce different varieties of cash and food crops which are transported and sold to various parts of the country. With a population of over 4 million people, the state is predominantly occupied by the Tiv people. Other tribes such as the Idoma, Igede, Etulo, Ufia, Agila, Utonkon, Hausa, amongst others, occupy varying proportions of land mass. Though there are settler tribes such as the Igbos, Yorubas, Ijaw, and others in the state. The Fulanis, for example, are said to be one of the settler tribes that has lived with the Tivs and Benue people for many decades. This relationship between Fulani herdsmen and Tiv farmers in Benue State has been very cordial and peaceful over the past decades as they both lived together.
It's true. When we live together and we even go to school, after we play football, sometimes they even follow us to queue. We used to go with them on the grazing. It is true. And that time we don't have any other problem. You can live anywhere, you stay anywhere. We even sleep in the house and they sleep in the camp.
Before, when the Fulanis that came, we first came here, during the dry season, they will come with their cattle and then they eat grass. And when the rain set in around April, they go back and come back during the dry season. In that way, there was no much problem.
Unlike the good old days when Benue farmers and Fulani herders lived together in peace, issues bordering on grazing of cattle on farmlands and cattle rustling, among others, have largely been responsible for the crisis between Fulani herdsmen and farmers in Benue State.
Don't forget that climate change has a lot of effects on the grazing areas that existed on the far north. That means to look for grazing lands for cattle, much more Fulani herdsmen have to move down looking for pastures where the cattle will graze.
And they actually started from the axis of Nasarawa State in the villages of Ansa, Doga, Yande, Jikwa, around the west of Kadolko in the present Giza development area of Nasarawa State. That was when the crisis started in its present current status of this serious violence. And then it now entered Daudu, Guma local government in Benue State.
This crisis, which was reasonably managed by stakeholders in the past, however, resurfaced and went out of control in the years 2013 and 2014. Villages and communities in Guma, Makudi, Buruku, Gwe West, Lego, Ukum, Agatu, and Apa local government areas of Benue State were attacked by suspected Fulani herdsmen and mercenaries, which led to loss of lives and property worth millions of naira destroyed.
We suffer a lot of getting our brothers in the village. They move to village to town to come and stay with us. They are farmers. So we kept them in our houses. So we get so many problems of feeding them, taking them to the hospital.
41 council wards were affected within these local governments. A total population of about 884,000 were affected, comprising of about 174 households. Bengonet, as a coalition of NGOs in the state, we were able to generate data through interviews, like in Makodi Guma and Gwe East, Gwe West. We were able to visit some of these camps.
This situation brought untold hardship to residents of the affected local government areas and other residents of the state, as many persons were internally displaced and forced to relocate to camps set up by the state government and different faith-based groups to get shelter and food.
Many children were trafficked in that season. A lot of others became slaves in their countries, serving people for survival. And the biggest of this is the psychological trauma that nobody has thought about. That you sat down in your house or in your farm, or somebody who is your relation was killed before your very eyes. A normal government or society should begin to look for a therapy to support such a person, because that person is no longer psychologically normal.
While some stakeholders attributed this ugly development to some criminal elements, others blamed the political class for not taking preventive measures in tackling the situation.
One of the things that lead to this crisis, in the thief, we have a criminal, although in the Fulanis we have some criminal who doesn't have any job to do. They're only bandits to cause confusion.
Because of the sophistication of today's Nigeria, where arms are almost everywhere, they have resorted to using very sophisticated arms to ensure that they penetrate to areas they want to. And this is coming at the heels of conflicts and very serious crises in neighboring countries, Libya and others. And therefore, access to arms has become so simplified.
There were use of AK-47. In fact, it was believed that there were mercenaries that came from places like Mali, Burkina Faso that were fighting, because in the course of interchange of fire, some of them were also killed and or captured, and they were not the type of Fulani that the people have known. The major cause of the crisis has always been that of the herdsmen's cattle trespassing on farmlands and destroying them, which in the past, they will negotiate and there will be settlement and there will be peace. And then we also, the typical Fulani people that the Tea people knew usually move around with their families, with their wives and children. You know, these mercenaries, these were the type of Fulanis that were coming only men well armed. So they will come and enter a community without recourse to the traditional leadership. It is like a kind of an aggressive force that is coming, whether you like it or not. We are coming. We are having our way. So most often when they now trespass, it will also be difficult for the farmers to even approach them for negotiation.
However, since the inception of the present administration under Governor Samuel Ortom, relative peace has returned to most of the communities as the government has initiated dialogue-based approach aimed at tackling these challenges. They include the establishment of disarmament and amnesty programs to tackle security challenges in the state. This has yielded positive results with the surrender of over 500 assorted illegally possessed arms and ammunition, and over 700 youths integrated into the amnesty program.
When we started this program, skeptics and pessimists had predicted that it was going to be a failure. But you can see that today is a major success that we have recorded. We believe that this is the beginning of a new Benue where all of us shall live peacefully. The amnesty program will ensure that we properly receive these arms and also receive all those people who were involved and properly integrate them into the society.
Also, the present administration has initiated security meetings with governors of Nasarawa and Taraba states aimed at forestalling possible strained relationship between herders and farmers through border patrol checks. Subsequently, the government has also set up the Civilian Joint Task Force in collaboration with the security agencies to ensure peaceful coexistence between farmers and Fulani herdsmen in the states.
When the new government comes in, Governor Dr. Samuel Oton, as a peaceful governor, he called for a meeting and some of the whole Fulanis in the government house. He said this fighting cannot bring anything. Any two wrong cannot make a right. So the things we have to go back and settle. And we went back, we make a peace agreement. It happens, we settle. Now we don't have any problem in Tivlands.
It is not on one hand that you do disarmament. Disarmament is both ways for you to get sustainable peace. So I will advise that government should make sure that the federal government should come in to ensure that the herdsmen are tracked and to have also disarmament done with them.
Grazing areas should be set up and there should be that understanding between the Fulanis and in those areas where the indigenous in Brazil or other countries where you have more cattle, you don't have cases of flashes like this, and therefore the government need to make some specific areas for the Fulanis to keep their cattle and graze them. The area of having loose cattle on the streets and in the bushes has gone. Population has increased tremendously. Farmlands have expanded. Today, the government is talking about agriculture. That means more people to the farms. And the people cannot go to the farms unless and until they find that their farms will be protected, their lives are safe, and they are going to make some yields and sell and take care of their living conditions.
Though there are still pockets of crisis, particularly in Agatu and Buruku local government areas of the state, it is, however, expected that government at all levels, including the traditional institutions, must strive towards achieving total peace in the state so that the true spirit of live and let live, as advocated by the affected states, will be enshrined.
I'm appealing to the federal government to come to the aid of Agatu immediately by letting all the security agents to move immediately to my constituency. The attack is going on, and more of them are crossing from Nasarawa State to Agatu. Also appealing to international communities to come to the aid of Agatu people, especially the Human Rights Commission. When these farmers, the Fulanis are coming, they should report to the traditional rulers in that particular area and then declare their cows. Because one of the major concerns or problems that we are facing is this issue of cattle roasting. And when you don't declare the cows that you are bringing to the area, and at the end of the day you accuse the people, how can you ascertain that these are the number of cattle that you are claiming? Sometimes they say 1,000 cattle are missing, and nobody has taken data or statistics of the number of cows that came. So the issue of reporting themselves to the locality they are coming, the traditional rulers declaring their cows is very important, so that when they eventually cry foul, the local people should be able to say, yes, these are the number, and the statistics will be there. Their leaders will sign, the local community where they are hosting them will also know and possibly do some documentation. So on this basis, if these things are observed, I think there will be a very peaceful existence among the Fulani and the rural and the local people, the farmers, because they still believe, in fact, they are farmers, they live by their crops, the Fulani live by their cows. And so if the cows are destroying the farmers, there's no, the farms, there's no way that the people will take it kindly.
Many observers are of the opinion that the collaboration of government with civil society organizations, community and religious leaders in evolving peaceful strategies, amongst others, will go a long way in solving the lingering crisis between Fulani herdsmen and farmers in Benue State.